Hello, magic makers, and welcome back to the Metaphysical Apothecary. We are your hosts, Shannon and Megan,
Hi, everyone.
also known as the Scorpio Sisters, here to explore the mysterious, the magical, and the arcane. We are talking about something I've always done unconsciously, and it's Magpie Magick.
I feel like this is something that most people of the witchy or pagan persuasion do subconsciously. I know that I've always done it, and you said you've always done it too since we were kids.
Mm-hmm.
Magpies are very well known for being extremely intelligent birds. We know them very well for picking up shiny things, shiny objects. They collect them. Marbles, beads, buttons, all of these beautiful little shiny things. And some members of the corvid family, including magpies, have even been known to make art by stringing together things like soda pop tabs and pine twigs, or they'll bring baubles and gifts to people who regularly feed and help them.
Corvids are also prone to remembering faces and remembering misdeeds.
They've also been known to honor their dead. After a member of their family group dies, they'll gather around them and seem to be holding a funeral of some sort.
Some kind of vigil, yeah.
Yeah.
Crow is my air spirit animal.
So magpie for me has begun to emerge as a part of my practice as well. And I'm not sure entirely what they have to teach me, but they've been hanging around with blue jays. I have never met a child whose pockets weren't full of all kinds of weird stuff. Just a weird collection of stuff in a child's pocket. Some of it is wet and smushy and you're not sure what it is. Sometimes it's buttons or marbles or pretty rocks or pennies.
All of those. All of the above.
Yeah, it's reminding me to play. Little kids collect all of these things to adults. It can sometimes look like they're just gathering up a bunch of junk, but these things are special to that child for some reason or another that calls to the child that makes them want to have them. A great many of us could benefit from the same kind of play. And that's where Magpie Magick comes from, the collection of these random bits and bats.
Yeah, it's messy and creative.
Yes.
It needs creation and imagination.
Hmm?
One of the ways that I know I use Magpie Magick is when I'm walking in some kind of park, out in the woods, or I'm just walking down the boulevard that overlooks New York City. I will pick up sticks, twigs and sticks, and if I can find a branch, I'm picking up the branch. Whatever the tree has decided to drop, I tend to pick those up. And I've had a love affair with whittling down the rough bark to get to the smooth wood underneath and using those as wands. I have no idea what woods they are, but I will definitely collect those once I am finished using that as a type of magical wand. That magical tool will end up somehow, some way in an art piece, mixed media art piece that I'm doing, whether it's a garden sculpture scene or whether it is a canvas that I'm using and framing in the wood pieces that I've picked up. Whatever it is, I end up using it in magic. Another way that I do it is I collect the shiny, colorful pieces of foil from candy wrappers. So whether it's a dark chocolate Hershey Kiss or a Dove or something like that, I collect those pieces and I will store them in their flattened state, usually in books, until I've decided that I have enough to work with. And then I cut them down into strips, and I will then use those strips to form sacred geometry pieces within my Book of Powers.
I think those examples point out one of the points of Magpie Magick or goblin core aesthetic or fairy magic or even junk practice is that you're looking at something like a random stick or a candy wrapper and you're imagining it as what it could be.
Mm-hmm.
There's no such thing as trash, really, in Magpie Magick.
Not at all. It's just whether or not you personally can reuse or upcycle it into a magical metaphysical purpose.
So it enhances our creativity in that
Mhm.
way, which can be very uplifting for your magic. One of the most significant ways that I use Magpie Magick, I was in front of my altar and I honestly forget what I was doing. I think I was consecrating some tools, but I had a gold leafing pen and this thing was leaking all over the place. It was very distracting to what I was doing. I had this big puddle of golden ink on an index card. And I was sitting there looking at that going, wow, that's really beautiful. I wish I didn't have to throw it away. Then my eye caught these 6 white votive candles. They're just random votive candle stubs that I had in a box with my magical supply. There's a lot of the magpie energy coming into this story.
Yes.
So just experimenting to see what would happen. I took one of the candles and I rolled it through the puddle of ink and it ended up in these beautiful, shiny, abstract designs. I did the same thing with the rest of the candles and now I have these beautiful, glowy, golden candles for my altar. Also had an index card that had this incredible waxy texture and this antique gold look about it. So I ended up ripping off the edges and coloring them as well. I pasted it on the front of one of my books of power.
I definitely do a lot of goblin core aesthetic, especially with my Halloween stuff.
Yeah.
My Halloween decorations that become my Samhain decorations. I have a little Yule Christmas tree. I left it out and up year round for a couple of years. And my goblin core aesthetic with Magpie Magick happened all over that tree. I used just regular tissues and cotton balls and be like, oh, well, I'm going to make little ghosties out of them and decorate the tree with little ghosties.
Just at random.
Just at random and make cobwebs for the tree. Magpie Magick was definitely coming through with that because the tree became a sort of altar table. I didn't know it at the time, but the ghosts that I was creating ended up being people that had passed that I had admired. It's almost like a beloved deceased altar.
That's really cool.
And of course, the cobwebs is a symbol for, it represents spiderwebs to me. And that became a understanding of there is no normal. Normal is an illusion. And it harkened back to understanding my association with Morticia Adams and her confidence levels of being herself within a unit without ever feeling the need to in any way, shape, or form conform to that unit. Of course, I had the spider rings that I used to collect from Halloween, those orange and black ones, and those would go on my tree. And Spider is my below/root chakra guardian. She is the grandmother of storytelling, and she also pokes me with her very many legs and pincers when she feels that there is a story or idea I need to write down. And Spider inspires me.
One of those beautiful things about practicing magic this way, especially if it's not comfortable for you. This is not a comfortable kind of magic for me. Anyone who knows me knows that I like my spaces to be neat, uncluttered. I don't want anything in them that I'm not going to use. But if you open the closet where I keep my craft supplies, and magical supplies, that goes out the window. There is no organizational structure in there. Glue, paint, random tissue boxes, cardboard tubing, and scraps of pretty paper, beads and buttons and old clothing that I've cut up for other things, but I've kept all of the tiny little scraps because I might be able to use that for something else at some point. Some of the advantages to practicing magpie witchcraft, especially if you do have trouble like me with stepping outside your comfort zone, with messiness, with disorganization, because that's life. Life in the world are complicated and messy and disorganized, and that can be difficult to deal with. So Magpie Magick can help us pattern sort. It can help us problem solve. It helps us see the world differently, because we have to reimagine these objects as other things. Look at the shape, look at the color, look at the texture, rather than what is actually in your hands or in front of you. It also encourages deep creativity, which is good for both your mind and your spirit. You're constantly making different kinds of art or repurposing things, which is good for not only your confidence levels, but also enhances your problem solving skills. So it can alleviate anxiety. And it also can have the ability to ground you in the present. If you're busy occupying your mind with the possibilities of bottle caps and what they could become, then you don't have time to ruminate on an argument that happened 7 years ago, or whether or not the waitress that you said something weird to is still thinking about it.
Yeah, I do all of those things all the time.
Me too. And there's no reason for that to occupy our minds, right? It's silly.
Those are just the negative wheel in motion. When we enter boredom, it's detrimental for me, at least, because that's when those hamster wheels of negativity churn the fastest. So having Magpie Magick materials or just going on Magpie Magick treasure hunt allows me to definitely do creative thinking, problem solving, and conceptual thought processes.
Those sorts of jaunts encourage communion with nature and interactions with and observations of local spirits, wildlife, and sacred spaces, or spaces that just feel a little bit more magical than the areas around them. Shout out to Molly Roberts. Check out her YouTube channel.
Yes.
That's all we have on our topic for today. Thank you so much for listening in, and we hope you'll join us again soon. In the meantime, you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook for more witchy wisdom, both here and on our blog. And you can also check out our original art on Society 6 for sacred decor and more. Thanks again for joining us. Go make some magic and live your best life.
Bye.